Men who identify as Sigma are stereotyped as being distant and unfriendly, especially toward women. Whether this is an intentional protective strategy or just their approach to interacting with the other sex, it appears to be rather effective. So, why does this happen? What makes up the Sigma male is a mystery. He's the sort who doesn't speak much, but makes his point strongly when he does. He's the antisocial one who'd rather be alone or in a small group of buddies. He is not the kind to actively seek out social interaction or external validation. He has no desire for approval from others and is content to go about his life as he pleases. Sigma's attractiveness to women stems, in part, from his fierce independence. To a woman, a Sigma man's seeming disinterest might come off as a playful attempt to strike up a conversation. Even if he isn't actively attempting to get their attention, the way he's been behaving suggests that he wants them to come after him. As a result, they frequently discover that women approach them even when they aren't interested. There is a common misconception that Sigma males are merely being elusive because they care less about the opinions of women. He has no intention of seeming distant or secretive. This is just how he naturally is. They are not concerned with conforming to conventional notions of masculinity or seeking approval from others. This carefree demeanor usually causes women to find him more attractive. They are intrigued by his apathy and want to know more about him. Some women find the task of attracting his attention intriguing. People may think that Sigma guys don't care about women on purpose, but there are psychological reasons for how we act. 1. They're too occupied with discovering their calling to worry about worrying. In many cases, Sigma males don't yet know what they want to do with their lives. They have no plans to settle down or take the conventional route in life. They're set on striking out on their own and won't be deterred. Many people mistakenly label Sigmas as egotistical or self-centered because they prefer to do things their way. Nobody will be able to tell them what to do or exert any kind of control over them. They usually have a solid grasp of their individuality and thrive on their own 2 feet. They don't need supervision or guidance from others. Sigmas tend to be daring and adapt well to new situations. They aren't afraid to try new things and are always on the lookout for excitement. Risky? Maybe, but Sigmas just don't want to settle for the average, boring existence that society often forces them into. They aren't interested in developing a herd mentality. They may not have any energy left over for a relationship if they are focusing on themselves. They're too preoccupied with seeking out their life's meaning to consider settling down. Because women aren't a top priority for them right now, they frequently disregard them. Knowing oneself and one's own desires is of paramount importance to Sigmas. 2. They like to remain alone and do not wish to interfere. Although this may come off as lonely or depressing to others, Sigma guys really thrive on time spent alone. They don't like being in crowds and usually crash after being with other people for a while. When they need to rest and revitalize, they want to be alone. Sigma is not a recluse on account of this. It just indicates that they have periods when they like being alone. If they aren't feeling social, they won't push themselves to interact with others. He will lose interest in a lady who is needy or clingy because he will opt to ignore her. They want a lady who will give them space while also making them feel at ease. Despite Sigma's reputation for being unfriendly, this is typically due to their introversion. They may be happy and pleased even while they're alone. As a matter of fact, they may experience anxiety if they are among a large group of individuals. They don't necessarily like solitude, but they tend to put more effort into the few connections that matter most to them. Because of this, guys often exclude women due to a lack of consideration or time constraints. 3. They can't seem to trust anybody. Despite appearances, many male Sigmas have trust concerns. They've likely been injured before, and they refuse to put themselves through it again. As a result, they often construct impenetrable barriers around themselves. This doesn't make those who suffer from stigma horrible people. It only indicates their extreme reserve. They aren't going to accept just anybody into their lives. They are cautious about letting someone in unless they have solid evidence that they can trust them. Many people mistakenly attribute the Sigma man's icy demeanor to a fear of harm. They prefer to keep their guard up rather than risk experiencing emotional pain, and so they do not let their guard down easily. In other words, they won't let their guard down or let their heart out readily. Sigma immediately withdraws when they detect even the tiniest indication of mistrust. They would rather be alone than with someone who constantly sends them warning flags. They are not paranoid. Rather, they are risk-averse whenever it comes to matters of the heart. 4. They despise the mind tricks that females are always up to. Most Sigma males have had enough of women's games. They have no interest in bluffing or maintaining an air of mystery. All they want is an open and honest partner. Women frequently strive to improve their perceived worth by being distant or uninterested. With Sigmas, however, this approach fails miserably. Rather than attempt to figure out a woman who is playing games, they choose to ignore her. They have excellent people skills and can see straight through your tricks. Sigma men are known to be blunt, and they want women to be the same. Men are turned off by coy or evasive females. Every rule, of course, has its caveats. However, Sigma men prefer ladies who are forthright and honest about their intentions. Attempting to influence a Sigma is like trying to control the wind. They have no interest in spending their time with someone who would only mess with their emotions. We can rule it out right now. 5. They are not desperate and do not require female reassurance. Sigma males aren't the needy types who can't function without female approval. They won't alter who they are or how they act to win her over. They don't need anyone's approval because they're perfect the way they are. There is a common tendency for women to attempt to exert power and influence on males by playing on their perceived superiority in the gender role. However, Sigmas aren't compatible with this approach. In other words, a woman's attractiveness or sexual allure won't influence them. And although a stunning female may pique their interest, she won't be enough to sway their judgment. They aren't interested in pursuing women in an effort to get their favor. They are secure in who they are and don't need the approval of others to feel valued. Sigmas typically don't act in a way that draws attention to themselves, but rather in a way that seems disinterested or even aloof. This is due to the fact that they are completely secure in their own worth and don't want external approval to be happy. Confidence, not arrogance, is what most women see here. 6. They are averse to commitment. A Sigma guy is an individualist who refuses to be confined. They want nothing that will limit their independence. They find comfort in the company of others who share their outlook on life and their commitment to a life of non-judgmental, non-controlling living. This doesn't mean they have anything against committed partnerships. Rather, they won't settle for a casual romance. They prefer changes that improve their lives rather than those that detract from them. They won't spend effort on something they don't think has value. They are not interested in pursuing a romantic partnership with a person who is a control freak or who is always trying to have their undivided attention. This doesn't imply they aren't interested in finding love, but rather that they are looking for someone simple to add to their lives. So, most guys choose to ignore women who are hard to please or have a lot of needs. This saves them time and effort. 7. They are unimpressed with fake princesses and queens. A woman who tries too hard to be someone she isn't will be immediately disregarded by the Sigma guy. They are not deceived by the pretense at all. They like to spend time with someone who is honest and real. When a woman puts on an act or tries to seem more impressive than she really is, Sigma is more likely to disregard her. Sigma, who places a premium on openness and honesty, finds this kind of conduct abhorrent. They're looking for an honest and genuine partner. Many individuals out there are attempting to portray an image that is not who they really are. The Sigma guy has encountered all kinds of phonies and wealth diggers. If someone is attempting to take advantage of them, they won't fall for it. While this may come off as chilly or unapproachable to others, the Sigma guy is just being sensible. It's not his cup of tea to hang around with jerks like them. Numerous pretend princesses and queens spend a lot of time and effort making their appearance as flawless as possible by donning layers of cosmetics, costly clothing, and flashy accessories. Despite this outward confidence, they may be very insecure and miserable on the inside. The Sigma guy is not going to be impressed by this appearance, despite its widespread success with male admirers. 8. They don't give a damn about her. As a result, this is the most likely cause of women being ignored by Sigma males. They just lack interest in her. She isn't really doing anything improper. Her lack of interest in and attraction to the Sigma is simply a fact. Whenever it comes to women, many Sigmas have very high standards. It's not worth it for them to talk to someone who isn't interested in them. This in no way indicates that Sigmas are vain. They have such a clear sense of purpose. In addition, guys won't waste their time or energy on a lady who doesn't measure up to their expectations. The Sigma guy is always on the lookout for a new test. He seeks a strong, self-reliant woman who can keep his mind active and engaged. A woman who is too eager to please him or who constantly gives in to his demands will not attract his attention. He's looking for a lady that can hold her own and think for herself. Rather than attempting to impress him, this lady should be able to teach him something. He'll eventually grow tired of it and go on if nothing is done. They would rather ignore her and concentrate on anything else than make an effort to like her. 9. They are too busy to deal with needless conflict. Drama queens are not worth the Sigma's attention. They don't want to have to cope with emotional manipulation or play games. That's not to say they aren't looking for a mate with fire and charisma, but they prefer someone who can rein in their feelings. They want someone who is level-headed and independent, not someone who is always in need of support. She will be ignored by the Sigma man if she is continually generating drama or is too dependent on him. This may come off as callous to some, but it's really just being practical. As far as they're concerned, there's no use in wasting time and energy on someone who's continually making trouble. The drama distracts them from the good things in their lives, so they try to avoid it. The Sigma guy has a reputation for always being emotionally unavailable, but the truth is that they just don't want to spend their time or energy on anybody who would cause them worry. For them, ignoring these women is a harmless self-defense technique.